Hello lovelies. Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. So for this tutorial I'll be listing out what you're going to be using for this style. So you'll be needing your scissors, your marking equipment, which is either your chalk or your marker. And then this is our lining. I have about 2 years of lining here. I'm not sure I'll be using the lining, but it depends on the effect I have at the end of the day, or for you as well. If you want it to be very full, like giving a ball gown effect, you can use your lining. And then I have this fabric, is a Miocado fabric. I have about 3 years here. And then I have this velvet bias. I might be using it, I don't know. I just wanted to use it to design around the hem side of this skirt. I might use it, I might change my mind at the end of the day. So I have a black and a purple color. And then you'll be needing your zip and then your pattern paper. Yes, you'll be marking on your pattern paper first before you transfer to your fabric if you don't want to waste your fabric. And then you'll be needing the almighty main equipment, which is your tape. You cannot do without a tape. So let's get straight into the video. Okay guys, for this tutorial the first thing we are going to be doing is to mark a straight line to serve as our starting point. So this is going to be my waistline, and then from there I'm going to go ahead and take the full length of this skirt. So for this pattern paper, my skirt length is longer than the pattern paper, so I have to join it. So for yours, go ahead and join it. And because I want to add a 1.5 inches band to it, I'm going to place my tape at that 1.5 inches, and then I'll go ahead and take the length of my skirt, and mine is 42 inches. So I'll go for 2 inches. I'll go ahead and make a mark there, and then I'll connect this line straight. So guys, once we are done with that, we are going to go ahead and insert our waist measurement divided by 4. I'll go ahead and make a mark there, and then I'm adding 1 inch for that. So I'm going to be adding my stitching allowance as I want to transfer it to our fabric. So this 1 inch is just for our waist dart. Then still placing my tape at that 1 inch or 1.5 inches band, I'll go ahead and mark my hip measurements. So you're going to measure from your waist to the fullest part of your butt, and that's where your hip falls. Whatever you have there, you insert it. So once we are done with that, I'm going to go ahead and insert my hip measurement divided by 4, my round hip measurement divided by 4. I'll make a mark there. Remember I said my stitching allowance I'll be adding it when I want to transfer to our fabric. So I'll go ahead and connect my hip to my waist, and then from the hip I'm going to go ahead and connect this line all the way straight. I'll connect the line all the way straight from the hip. This is not really necessary, but I'm just doing it so that we'll have just a basic skirt idea of what we are doing. So this is the basic skirt idea. So once we are done with that, I'm going to go ahead and mark my nipple to nipple measurements, and mine is 3 inches. So I want this designed to start from my nipple to nipple measurement. If you want yours to be smaller, please reduce your measurement. If you want it to be bigger, you can go ahead and increase it. And then for the where I want my gather to start, I want it to start 1 inch above my hip measurement. You can increase this, but it's more beautiful if it starts just above the hip, like sitting on top of the hip. It's more beautiful. So I'll go ahead and connect this line all the way straight, just like you see me, and then I'll go ahead and make a curve just for the where we are going to be attaching the gather effect. Then I'll go ahead and cut this out. If you haven't subscribed up to this moment, please do wait to hit on the subscribe button, join the family. And to my old subscribers, I say thank you very much for all your support. Thank you for joining and watching my videos all this while. I really appreciate. So this is what we have at this point. So for the side piece, yeah, this is I folded my fabric into 2, and this side I just opened is the open part of this skirt. And as you can see, I left ½ inch all the way around this skirt. So I left ½ inch at this point, ½ inch at the upper part of it, so that we'll be able to attach it to the main skirt. And then for this side I have about 12 inches. But if you want yours to be like full like the idea you have, please do up to 20 inches. But me, I have just 12 inches. Remember, I am working with just 3 yards of fabric, so I'll go ahead and cut it out just like you see me cutting out. Don't forget to leave an allowance to join to the skirt, and also allowance to hem yours. So this is what we have, and I'll go ahead and duplicate the same thing that I have there. So this is it. I'm trying to duplicate it, so because one is for one side, the other one is for the other side of it. So I'll go ahead and cut out another one so that we'll have two separate fabric. I don't know if I mentioned it's on fold. Please, it's on fold. So I went ahead to use that same front pattern to cut out another one, and I added zipper allowance to it. That's the only difference between it. So I'm going ahead, you can see what I have here. I added stitching allowance on every side of it, and then the seam side I added 1 inch, and then the hem I added 1 inch, but every other side I added ½ inches. Then the center front you can see is folded and there is no allowance to it. So this is the other side of it, and remember I said I added, so the other side, which is the back one, I added 1 inch for 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and open the front part, which is then I'm going to be doing front facing front at this point. I'm going to be arranging this front facing front. I'll use my pin to hold it down, and I'll do the same thing for the other side. I'll also use my pin to hold it down, and then I'll stitch down by 1 inch. Remember I added 1 inch for stitching allowance for mine. I'll stitch it down by 1 inch on both sides. Okay guys, once we are done with that part, look at this is what we have at this point. You can see that the both side has been stitched down, so we have just one fabric that we are going to be working with. This is what it's looking like at this point. When you try to close it up. So for the side piece that we are going to be using for our gathers, this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and remove the pattern paper, and then the next thing we're going to be doing is to make notch on the side gather piece. So I'll go ahead and open the center front, the side stitching allowance, side stitched allowance, and then this one I'm going to go ahead, the way it's folded into two at the cuff part, at the upper part of it, that's where we have our cuff side. I'll go ahead and make a notch at the other side of this. You can see what I have here. I already made a notch, so I'll go ahead and make front facing front at this point, and then I'll go ahead, we are going to go ahead and start working on. So the center seam side, that's where we are going to be placing that notch that you just made earlier, and I'll use my pin to hold it down. Once you pin that down, I'm going to go ahead and get the hem of this gather part of this. I'll match it up with the hem part of this of the main skirt, of the main fabric, and then I'll go ahead and start pinning this down. So you're going to be pinning all the way straight from the beginning to the end, just like you see me do. Please go ahead and be pinning. Just continue pinning this all the straight side of this skirt. You're going to pin and pin until you get to the cuff part of the skirt. Once you get to the cuff part of this skirt, you're going to stop pinning. Then the excess here is going to be at that, towards that that cuff part of it. So this is what we have. See, the excess is there. So I'm going to go ahead and also pick up the other side of this skirt, of this gather part of this skirt, and then I'll start pinning this down as well. I'll repeat the same process that I did for this side. I'll pin it down all the way from the hem of this skirt to where we have the cuff part. Then all the excess will be plaited into that cuff part, just like what we're trying to create, right? So once I pin that down, I'll start my stitching. So I'll stitch all the way from that hem to where my cuff part started. You can notch this so that you know where you stop. So once I get to that cuff part, I'll go ahead and make gathers or plaits into that cuff area. All the excess there, I'll plait it into that place, and then I'll continue my stitch until I get to the other side, other hem of this skirt, and I'll repeat the same process for the other side of this gather skirt. So guys, this is what we have at this point. Remember I said if you want yours fuller, you increase your fabric. So this is mine. Go ahead and hold in your darts. Don't forget that your dart of 1 inch, you're going to go ahead and hold it in by ½ inch on both sides, both the front and the back. And I lost clips of what I did afterwards. So all you have to do is to attach your band, hem this, attach your zip, and then that's it for this style. Thank you so much for watching.